boy stands alone on a cliff, lightning tearing the sky apart behind him, rain hammering his skin like 1,000 needles. In his hands, nothing but a wooden stick. No armor, no sword, no protection from the fury of the storm. What could possibly drive someone to face such wrath with so little? But that boy, he wasn't fighting the storm, he was fighting himself. This is the untold power of Miyamoto Musashi, a man whose greatest battles weren't waged on blood-soaked battlefields, but in the depths of his own soul. The story begins in a small village where Musashi was born into a world of chaos. His father, a skilled samurai, was both his first teacher and his first lesson in the fragility of life. But fate is unforgiving. When his father passed, Musashi was left alone, an orphan in a world that showed no mercy. But even as a child, he carried a fire within him, a fire that would not be extinguished. At just 13 years old, Musashi did something that would define the rest of his life. He challenged a seasoned warrior to a duel. Armed with nothing more than a wooden stick and sheer determination, he stood face to face with a man who had spent decades mastering the blade. It wasn't skill or experience that won him that fight. It was grit, instinct, a refusal to back down when the odds were stacked against him. That day, Musashi didn't just win a battle. He discovered something far greater, the power of resilience. He learned that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward despite it. From that moment on, Musashi became a wanderer. He roamed across Japan, seeking out opponents, testing himself, learning from every encounter. Each duel taught him something new.
Photographs and memories.
Not just about combat, but about himself.
Time flows like water through my ear.
He came to understand a truth most never grasp. Mastery isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about embracing every challenge, every failure, as an opportunity to grow. Stronger, sharper.
Time flows like water, carrying me away.
By his 20s, Musashi had earned a reputation as one of the most formidable swordsmen in the land. Yet instead of resting on his laurels, he chose a path few could imagine. He became a ronin, a masterless samurai, alone, unattached, free.
Yesterday feels so far.
For years he lived off the land, sleeping under the stars, pushing himself to the limits of endurance. People whispered about him. Some called him reckless, others thought him mad. But Musashi knew what they couldn't see. Freedom comes at a cost.
Time flows like water.
To truly master anything, you must leave behind comfort, certainty, the noise of other people's expectations. One stormy night, legend has it, Musashi climbed a mountain during a tempest so fierce it seemed the heavens themselves were trying to stop him. Lightning split the sky, thunder roared, winds howled as if to knock him from the cliffs. Any sane person would have turned back. But Musashi, he pressed on, step by step, breath by breath, driven by something deeper than fear. When he reached the summit, soaked, shivering, he looked out over the raging storm below, and in that moment, he knew. He had never felt more alive. That's the paradox of growth. You don't find yourself by staying safe. You discover who you are when you push past your limits, when you stand face to face with chaos and refuse to blink. Years later, Musashi faced Sasuke Kojiro, the demon of the western provinces. A duel that would become legend. Kojiro was everything Musashi wasn't. Taller, stronger, armed with a massive sword that seemed almost mythical in its size and power. On the day of the duel, Musashi arrived late, deliberately, while Kojiro waited, growing angrier by the minute. Musashi sat calmly on his boat, carving a wooden sword from an oar. By the time he stepped onto the beach, calm, unhurried, Kojiro was already seething. They fought near a remote island, waves crashing around them, tension thick as the stormy sky above. With a single strike, Musashi ended it. Not because he was faster, not because he was stronger, but because he understood something crucial. Timing is everything. Patience can be your greatest weapon. Musashi didn't boast. He simply turned and walked away, knowing there was still more to learn. As he grew older, Musashi retreated to a cave, surrounded by silence and shadows. There, he wrote the Book of 5 Rings, distilling a lifetime of lessons into words that would endure. Long after he was gone, at first glance it seems like a manual for combat, but read between the lines and you'll see it's much more. It's a guide to mastering life itself. He wrote about strategy, adaptability, perception, about seeing beyond the obvious, anticipating challenges, staying grounded in chaos. One line stands out: perceive those things which cannot be seen. What does that mean? It means understanding the deeper currents beneath the surface. In battle, it's knowing your opponent's next move before they make it. In life, it's recognizing patterns, opportunities, pitfalls that others miss. It's playing chess while everyone else is stuck in checkers. Musashi died alone, leaving behind no fortune, no empire, no heirs, just his writings, his lessons, and the stories of an extraordinary life.
Stone by stone, walking alone, cold beneath my feet.
Yet centuries later, his wisdom endures. Why? Because it transcends time and place. It speaks to anyone willing to embrace struggle, to seek mastery, to live fully. We all carry a spark inside us, a potential for greatness. But too many settle for mediocrity, because the road to mastery is hard. It demands sacrifice, discipline, courage, and yes, loneliness. But here's the beautiful part. The harder the climb, the better the view. Every challenge you overcome shapes you into someone stronger, wiser, more resilient. Every step you take brings you closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. Life can feel like a storm, messy, overwhelming, and unpredictable. You might be standing on the edge of something, staring into the unknown, wondering if you're ready. But here's the truth: you are. You always have been. Miyamoto Musashi, one of the greatest warriors in history, didn't start as a legend. He was just a kid with a wooden stick and a fire in his chest. That's where you are right now. You might not have all the tools, the experience, or the confidence yet, but you have something far more powerful: the choice to begin. Start by embracing the struggle. Growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens when you're out there, in the rain, facing the lightning. So, ask yourself, what's your wooden stick? What's that one thing you're holding on to, even when the world tells you it's not enough? That's your starting point. That's your power. It doesn't have to be perfect or impressive. It just has to be yours. Learn to be alone with yourself. The world is loud, social media, opinions, distractions, but clarity comes in the quiet. Sit with your thoughts, listen to what your inner voice is saying. That's where you'll find your answers. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Trust yourself. You know more than you think. Timing is everything. Life isn't about rushing to the finish line. It's about knowing when to move and when to wait. Patience isn't passive, it's strategic. Slow down, breathe, trust the process. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pause and let things unfold. Musashi said, "Do nothing which is of no use." Strip away the distractions, the excuses, the noise. Focus on what matters. You're not here to live a small life. You're here to face your storms, climb your mountains, and write your story. It won't be easy, but I promise you this: the harder the climb, the better the view. Take the first step. Face the storm, embrace the struggle, learn to sit with yourself. Master the art of timing, and when you reach the top, look back at how far you've come. The person you'll become, stronger, wiser, unshakable, is worth every moment of the fight. This is your journey, your legacy, not for the world, but for you. Start where you are. Your wooden stick is enough.
Far